Welcome to Inside Texas Football, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm your host today, Landon Holyfield, joined by none other than our recruiting expert here, Justin Wells. Justin, appreciate you joining us today. We're going to talk about the newest addition to the Texas Longhorns roster, some big-time help via the portal, and return man and receiver Mathew Golden. Justin, before you tell us about him, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It's free, totally free to you. And that's the biggest and easiest way for you guys to help us out. But Justin, talk to us about Mathew Golden.
Man, Landon, this one's a big one. You know, Xavier Worthy has been, the man the last 3 years in the wide receiver room in Austin. And he's headed off to greener pastures. He's going to play on Sundays next season. And so someone's got to fill that spot. And that's some big shoes. Even though X isn't that big, those are some pretty large shoes. Mathew Golden is going to try to do that. And he brings something that is the equalizer of all sports, and that is speed. He has God-given speed. The kid can fly. He was a 10.5, 10.6, 100 guy in high school. And you saw his dynamic playmaking ability in Houston over the last 2 years. He had, I believe, 600-something yards in his first season, almost 500 yards this last season. I want to say it's about 13 touchdowns in 2 years. He was one of their big-time playmakers in a pretty wide-open offense for Dana Holgorsen.
Oh, yeah.
He's a guy that – we know that Sark wants to get vertical. We know he wants to chunk the ball down the field and move the chains and really test those safeties. Mathew Golden offers that. He's an outside guy. Now, he can play both. And Sark prefers those guys that are versatile, play outside and inside. But he'll be filling in that spot where Xavier Worthy's playing. And not just on the offense. This is a guy, like you said, in the return game. He is special in the return game. Really big. I believe he had 2 kick returns for touchdowns this season. I think he had 1 call back. But he adds that aspect, that factor. He brings that speed to the second and third phase of the game, of the team. And so today is big. Like Mathew Golden, when Xavier Worthy's, when he's done, and it looks like this, he'll probably head off to the league after the college football playoff. Those are some big shoes.
More games. Two more games.
You got 2 more, hopefully 2 more. Hopefully 2 more. And makes them, absolutely, necessary. But at the end of the day, it's like an NFL roster. You got to churn the bottom of it. You got to fill in the blanks. And Mathew Golden fits into that Xavier Worthy role seamlessly.
So you think he can do some punt return stuff as well as kick return things? Right?
We saw him more. I've seen him more in kick return. I feel like punt return, I haven't seen him do that as much. I feel like punt return he could, because if you can do one, most of the time you can do the other, even though it is, honestly, it is different.
It is different. Yeah, you're catching the ball in space. It's a much different.
Yeah, people don't realize that. Returning punts is dangerous.
Yeah, very.
but Golden adds that versatility. He adds that speed. This is a Klein Kane kid that was really, really good. And just I think that's kind of what we're talking about. People forgot Xavier Worthy was an All-American kick returner this year. The guy. He had a touch. I think he had 2 touchdowns run back this year. He had another one called back, or maybe 2 called back. So Worthy became even more essential in that return game this year. Mathew Golden is going to fit into that spot. That's where he sinks in. This is a guy that he's already building relationships with guys on this team at Texas, and I think this is going to be one of those transitions where Sark and the staff have been very judicious with who they take in the portal. Ever since that first year when they brought in a Jai Hall and Jaleel Billingsley, you haven't seen those types anymore. They are looking for culture fits. And if they're taking a guy in the portal today, that means he fits not only physically, emotionally, but he fits in the culture and in that locker room, because that's very important for Sark in this group.
Love it. And you talked a little bit about, too, behind the scenes, that he's got a pre-existing relationship with Jaden Blue. So very possible. We're still going to be yet to be seen exactly how he's going to be deployed in Sark's offense. You mentioned the outside receiver position, doing a lot of the Xavier Worthy type things, but very realistic chance we see a little bit of red next year, a little bit of blue, and then a little bit of golden in Steve Sarkisian's offense. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that, man. Yeah.
That's good stuff, Landon. I like that.
Good stuff, man. It's exciting. All the different colors of the rainbow.
Hey, when you got a DB on the side and Kobe Black.
There you go. Hey, there you go.
We're looking for the spectrum, brother.
Look at us. Look at us right now. Oh, this is great. Okay, so my last question before we move on here, just do you want to talk a little bit about what you see as far as his athleticism, either off the line of scrimmage, creating with his release and then generating separation. As we know, separation is key. It's king
Everything.
at the receiver position. So do you want to talk a little bit about how he's wired physically, lower body strength, upper body strength, just vertical explosion? Talk to us a little bit about that.
He brought an impressive skill set to Houston. He was like that in high school. But what you've seen is he's gotten bigger and stronger. And that's what a strength and conditioning program does at the college level. You know that as well as anybody. You start getting those 3 squares a day and your body starts to fill out. Well, Mathew Golden's gotten a little thicker. He's gotten a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And you want that. He's going into his junior year. And so he's a guy that has NFL aspirations. And if he wants to play on Sundays, the best thing to do is to grow in this program, to grow in this offense, to find a fit. He's got that twitch. He's got some of that twitch to him. He can get off the line. He can separate, and he's got good hands. He's got really good hands. And for a guy with that kind of speed, that's just such a powerful component. And so I think Golden brings that. I think he's going to bring that to that wide receiver room. And listen, don't get it twisted. You get Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning throwing you the ball for the next 2 years. To me, that's the biggest sales pitch of all.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's hard not to be excited about that as any type of pass catcher, right? And then you talked about too, just working your way onto the field any way that you can. One of the best ways to do that at the college level and at the NFL level is to just be a legit contributor on special teams, right? And it seems like he's going to do a little bit of that stuff as well. So exciting stuff here. Quick word from our sponsor. Do you have a personal injury? Call Andre the lawyer at 214-444-8808. He's located in Dallas, Texas, and he helps injured Longhorns. If you get car wrecks, slips and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful death, Andre is your guy. He's a proud member and longtime reader of Inside Texas. And if you're hearing this message, guys, he wants to help you. Once again, that number is 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. All right, Justin, last thing here on Mathew Golden, I want to get your thoughts on. Just tell me a little bit how did this whole thing materialize? The journey from University of Houston to the University of Texas.
Yeah, a lot of guys like Mathew, they sign with a school that's not Texas or Texas A&M. It's not SEC or Big Ten. It may be a little bit a different place. And they realize if they do really good, they can trade up. You see it every year now in portal season. A lot of these guys at smaller schools and maybe at bigger schools that they didn't get an opportunity to play. They had somebody in front of them. They get that opportunity to hit the portal and refresh themselves, so to speak, to maybe get a new place. Mathew liked Houston. Mathew was happy with Houston. He loved the wide receiver coach that was there, but Dana Holgorsen was let go. And so there's a new Willie Fritz is coming in, and he's going to bring in a new offense. And Mathew doesn't know, Golden doesn't know if he's going to fit in that or not. You cart that with Jaden Blue. They've been friends for a long time. They've known each other a long time. Texas knew Mathew when they recruited him, 2 years ago. And so there's some comfortability there. There's some familiarity. Golden reached out to a handful of these Texas guys over the last few days. He's been checking in saying, hey, what's this like? And what's that like? He's been very intuitive, wanting to know kind of where these guys, what they think, because nothing sells your program like these players. The coaches can tell you about the vision and the promises. The school can tell you about the academics and the opportunities. But those players that are on the field that have to do the actual job are the best ones. They're the ones that are going to give you the truth. Sometimes, for good or bad, they'll tell you the truth.
Better or worse, yeah.
Exactly. And I think, what was great is Jaden Blue having such a great season. Mm-hmm. Jaden Blue has as much burst in the running back room as anybody. And I know I'm including Keelan Robinson. Like Jaden Blue can just go. And I think him finding success in Austin, Golden sees that. Mm-hmm. I think he saw that because, Jaden didn't play his senior year at Klein Cain. And there was all that going on. And he finally waited. He worked. He got his opportunity. He played hard. He developed. Golden saw that. He sees Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy, making big-time plays every Saturdays. Those are all selling points. And so I think that's how it materialized. I think it was that relationship that they had previously with the staff. I think it was just now getting to know Chris Jackson, the wide receiver coach at Texas after his first season. And then also just the familiarity with those players. Jaden Blue is his biggest fan. If you ask Jaden, they love each other. And I think that, to me, is the biggest key on how this went down.
Love it, man. I'm excited to see him get to work. 6'1", about 190 pounds. Do I have that correct?
185, 190. Yeah.
And what better way to make your sales pitch to Texas, right? And then by auditioning the way that he did, scoring 2 touchdowns on him back in week 6, I think it was. He had
I was there covering it.
Yep. You see some of the suddenness there. He had a little slant flat concept coming out, from the slot receiver position, quick. Like I noticed too. I went back and watched the replay. I think it was Terrence Brooks that he was ISO'd up on man coverage. He had outside leverage on him. He gave him that quick, inside jab, and then was still able to beat him to the outside for a nice, easy, just layup touchdown there.
That kid can run routes.
Yes. And only 2 years into its college career right now, there's still room for growth. We would like to believe, right? Under the tutelage of Chris Jackson, like you mentioned just a second ago.
Look how much Adnan Mitchell has grown in the last 6 months, Landon.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great start at Georgia, but he was injured and he didn't play a whole lot. He had big games and big opportunities, but he didn't have a season of it. He comes to Austin and has put together a phenomenal year. That's another thing that Mathew Golden, he sees that, and that's just opportunistic for those guys.
Totally agree. The proof is in the pudding right there, man. Justin, thanks again for joining us and breaking this whole situation down. Mathew Golden, the newest Texas Longhorn. And make sure, once again, like and subscribe to the channel, guys. Totally free to you. It really helps us out. We'll see you on the next one.